Oh, looks like it's working. All right, it looks good over there. I'm gonna go ahead and kick this one off. Anyone who jumps in here, welcome. If you're listening to this, then you are the master of your reality. I am the master of my reality, and this is Foundational Gnosis live stream episode 2. And I got stream or OBS working, so I can now live stream from my laptop and show you, all you wonderful people, the universe of my laptop. So we can look at some charts, we can look at some images. I do like to keep these live streams not about crypto, but we will go into some crypto in this live stream just to give you all a general update of what's going on in the markets. But I decided to incorporate some Wim Hof breathing into this live stream. So if you guys would like, I'd love if you can join me. We're gonna do a round of Wim Hof breathing, just to raise our frequency a little bit. You know, get some oxygen in our blood, lower those brain waves a little bit down, and yeah. So if this is your first time doing Wim Hof, you know, it might be a little uncomfortable, and that's okay. I It was very uncomfortable for me when I first started this Wim Hof breathing technique, but the more you practice it, the deeper your lung capacity gets. It's very good for your lungs, um, and you know it's pretty cool. We as humans are the only animal that I'm aware of that maybe like dolphins and whales can too, but they can consciously like control our breathing, and so that's a pretty big tool. So we're gonna begin, but quick warning: if you are driving right now or operating, you know, any kind of machinery and everything, please do not participate in this with us. All right, if you're driving right now, don't do this because it can make you lightheaded. All right, so only participate in this breathing exercise if you are, you know, sitting down. It is best to like sit in a chair, sit up straight, or you can you know, sit crisscross applesauce or full lotus if you want to. Um, but yeah, just don't be standing up, and please don't be driving or anything. We don't want anyone to get hurt. So let's begin.
Hi guys, welcome. This is a guided reading session.
Hopefully y'all can hear that well.
Relax to the deepest. Lie down, sit down, whatever it takes.
I'm gonna mute my mic.
Are you ready?
Welcome back. So, hopefully y'all enjoyed that. That was nice, right? Yeah. So just making sure everything's looking good over here in the stream. Got some cool stuff we're going to talk about today. So let's get into it. And by the way, the Wim Hof. So I every morning as part of my morning routine, morning ritual, I do this breathing technique. And along with other things, part of my morning routine, but this really is a great, simple way to just start your day off on a good note, on a high vibration. So I'd recommend everyone, if you're new to Wim Hof, definitely check out the 2 podcasts he did with Joe Rogan, so you can learn about the breathing technique. But yeah, definitely something that I love doing. One of those uncomfortable things that are very good for you. So, but let's get into the stream. So hopefully you guys can see this image nicely. This was an image that I brought up during my podcast with Daily Candle Close News. My brother, Honest Abe, John, Mr. XR Billionaire, you know what I'm saying? No, but we talked a little bit about this image, and I'm going to create more of these graphics that illustrate the foundational principles of Master Your Reality. And obviously the first one is knowing who you are, knowing what you are. And you are the master of your reality, but more than that, you are awareness, you are consciousness, you are energy, you are light, you are an infinite spiritual being having a temporary physical human experience. And so that's basically what you are, who you are. And then the second part, the second foundational gnosis, is what is reality. Understanding the interconnectedness of it all and your part in it, your place in it. And what is reality can be one of the most confusing aspects of our experience here, understanding what this is, what the matriz, the matrix is. But I like to break it down into your experience, your environment, and your programming. All right, and these are the kind of aspects that make up your reality. All right, none of these things are you, by the way. All right, you have a reality. You are, I guess, you are the awareness of your reality, but you are not the environment. Well, in a way you are, but that's kind of a paradox we won't get into. You can check out what is reality if you want to explore that paradox side of it. You have your programming, which is not you. It's part of you, but is not really you at your core essence. But let's break down how this works, how your reality works. And so I like to start off with your environment. All right, and your environment is you watching this video right now, this live stream. You know, it's all, everything that surrounds you. It is whatever building you're in, what type of lighting is around you. You know, if you got fluorescent, LED, whatever. You know, the sounds you're hearing. If you're hearing birds chirp, or busy highway, maybe there's some traffic. Maybe some people talking. That is all your environment, your surroundings, and everything in your environment, as it goes, as you perceive it, right? As it goes into your mind, your sensory input, it has an effect on your programming. All right, so your environment influences your programming. And your programming filters all of the sensory input, all the data that's coming from the environment. It filters that and gives you your understanding, which then creates your experience. All right, and so I kind of jumped ahead, but your programming is your subconscious, okay? It is the part of the mind that you are not entirely conscious of, okay? This is like your habits, even the gut microbiota is somewhat of your programming, right? Your gut is the microorganisms in your gut are programmed based on your entire life of eating choices, and so you can also reprogram your gut microbiota. But let's focus more on the mind aspect of it, the subconscious mind. For example, if you went through the public schooling system, as I did, as many I'm sure of you watching this did, you remember the bell, right? The bell that rings that tells you when it's time to go to the next class. All right. And that's part of the environment, right? And we are in school, we're taught to obey the bell, right? Whenever we hear that, it's kind of like the Pavlov's dogs, like if you're not familiar with that, the Pavlovian reaction is where this guy Pavlov, he had these two dogs, and every time before he would feed them, he would ring a bell, ring a ling ling, and then he would feed the dogs. And so over time of him doing that, the dogs associated the sound of that bell, of him ringing that bell, with, oh, it's time for food. And so eventually what happened was he would ring the bell, and that would make their mouths start watering. The dogs' mouths would start salivating because they thought, oh, food's next, right? And this Pavlovian reaction is entirely the subconscious mind. This is the subconscious mind getting programmed to wire, have certain neural pathways that when certain things show up in our environment, in our reality, our mind is already trained to expect what is next, to predict what is next. Our minds are constantly predicting and judging our environment, okay? And so the bell, right, in the public schooling system, that's kind of that has programmed us to, like trying to relate this to like some real world example, but we depend on the bell to figure out what we're going to do next. And the whole structure of the public schooling system is kind of getting you ready to be a good worker, right? To get you ready for the workforce so that you can you have an assignment, do what you're told, turn it in on time, good job. You get a good rating, right? Grade point average. And this was all designed by John D. Rockefeller, I'm sure as a lot of you know. And he is quoted saying, we already have enough thinkers in this nation. I want a nation of workers, right? We need more workers. So that's essentially what the intention was in creating this standardized public education system, or as some of us call it, the public indoctrination system. And so we get all this programming, in our early life, especially in the years of like ages, I think it's like 0 to 7, when we are in the pure subconscious mind. I forget, is our brain waves are like in theta during that time. which is what we can access through Wim Hof, by the way. But anyway, and then after age like 7 or 8, then our brainwave, we get the conscious mind, right? We become more self-aware, and our brainwaves go into alpha, I think. And so, but during that stage, we are extremely programmable. So a lot of our, childhood experiences are like that deep-rooted subconscious mind programming. So shout out to all the parents out there, man, because it's so important. I don't have any kids yet, but it is such a big responsibility in being a mother or father, especially in that early few years of your child's life, to give them that a good programming, essentially. So, and a lot of our childhood trauma is from those early years. It's creating a lot of the limiting beliefs that we have today, and so that's where shadow work comes in, and going back and healing that childhood trauma, whatever it might be, right? Everyone's what's that saying? It's like the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you, right? So everyone's had different experiences, different paradigms, and so something that was extremely traumatic to one individual might be like a walk in the park to another individual who've had much more traumatic stuff happen to them. All right, so that's kind of how that goes. But let's get back into this graphic here. So yeah, your environment over time rubs off on your subconscious mind and creates your programming. Now, everything that goes through this filter, your subconscious mind, not only is your subconscious mind filtering that and then giving you your understanding, but it's also, as the information, as the input is going through that filter, it has an impact. It changes the filter as the energy flows through it, as the information flows through it. It is having an impact on your subconscious mind. So if you want to change your subconscious mind, you change your environment. You change the things that are coming into your filter to higher vibrational things. For instance, the music you listen to, the people you hang around with, the books you read, everything, what you're looking at on your phone and your computer, everything that you are partaking in the environment affects your subconscious mind. And so that's where the rewiring of the subconscious mind comes in, is that you can choose your environment. That's one of the amazing things as the master of your reality, is you have complete choice over your environment. Well, not always, but you do have complete control over how you respond to the events and circumstances that you might find yourself in within the environment. All right, so, and then your experience, sorry, I forgot to touch on this. Your experience is simply your current state of being, the now moment, how you are feeling. Emotion, okay? That's your experience. What kind of emotions are you feeling? Are you, sad? Are you depressed? Are you happy? Are you excited? Are you, whatever feelings, whatever emotions you're experiencing, including pain. Pain is just an emotion, all right? Emotion, you have energy in motion. Emotion, okay? So, which includes pain, right? It's just the energy flowing through the central nervous system, giving you the feeling of pain. All right, it's to some degree, it's an illusion. This is all an illusion to some degree, but it's real as we perceive it. Okay. So, kind of summing this up. So, your environment influences your programming. your programming filters your environment and gives you your understanding that creates your experience. So if you have a strong programming, a very strong subconscious mind, you know thyself, you're very self-aware, and you kind of have that mental toolkit, that mental tool belt for dealing with whatever chaos may show up in your environment, then it becomes much more easier to deal with your environment, no matter how crazy or chaotic or difficult it might get. So the programming is key. All right, I'm such a huge proponent of subconscious rewiring. Check out the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza if you are not aware. What is it? Neurons that fire together wire together. So getting into he is a master of not only subconscious mind rewiring, but also heart-brain coherence, which is effectively how one reaches that Christ consciousness level where the heart is holding hands in a harmonious relationship with the mind. All right, so I think that's okay. So the last part of all this is that the action that you take, this is where Master Your Reality comes in. The action that you take from your experience has an impact on your environment, which then, and then the cycle, this is a constantly ongoing cycle. So whatever action that you take, whatever action you choose to take based on what experience you're having and how self-aware of you are that experience, are you just completely absorbed and swallowed up by your feelings, your emotions, or can you reach that level of awareness above your emotions to take a step back, be present, ground yourself, and then respond from a place of, of being, of self-awareness, rather than just getting absorbed into the chaos of it all, the emotions. So, and your response to your reality creates your reality. Your ability to respond to your experience depends on your level of self-awareness. By increasing your you can increase your self-awareness by raising your frequency. Check out the awesome video I just did about raising your frequency. Basically, I explain how you raise your frequency by removing the energetic restrictions, not only on the mind, but also on the body. Okay? So, yeah. Hope you guys like that. And then the third prong, foundational Gnosis idea, is what is the purpose of it all? And the truth is that life has no purpose. It has no one singular purpose. There's no right answer to the question, what is the purpose of life? Because the purpose of life is life itself. The purpose of life is everything that life encompasses. All the possibilities that is, possible in this matrix is the purpose. That's why we created it, to come down here and have these experiences that we can't have in the higher realms. All right. So, yeah. Hope you guys like that. Let's see. How are we doing on the stream? Shout out to the people watching the stream right now. Much love to y'all. I'm not seeing anything in the chat, but if you guys have any questions or anything, or want to talk about anything, just put it down in the chat and we can definitely talk about that. So I think now I'm going to go ahead and go into some crypto stuff. And by the way, I hope everyone who's watching right now is having an amazing day, an amazing Sunday, soul day. and just taking today. A lot of people have this day off from work or whatever it is. Taking some time for yourself, reconnecting with source. Personally, I'm doing a fruit fast today. Kind of reset my 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 intake, my intestines, whatever, my gut. Kind of reset that, raise frequency a little bit. But yeah, so much love to all of y'all, man. You guys are amazing for tuning in today. But let's get into some crypto, because I know that's what a lot of people, where the value is, monetary value at least. Spiritual value is incomparable into anything financial, and that's what I try to give y'all as a priority. But let's go ahead and transition over into some crypto. Let's check out the MMRI real quick just to see what it's at. I haven't checked it in a little bit. So what is this thing at? Okay, so we dip back below extreme risk, right at we're at 293.5. So, all right, there's that. Let's go to the charts, the sticks here, see what we got going on. Let's revisit the currencies and indices that we touched on in my last market video. We got JP Morgan. All right, so if we zoom in here, I want to show y'all something. I can already see this right here, but if you look at JP Morgan, we tapped out right at the golden or the emerald zone. Right there perfectly at the 0.702. So if you're not familiar with this tool, typically once we have a sell-off, you pull from the top to the bottom of the sell-off, and then the next expected area of retracement is to this green zone right here in between the 0.618 and the 0.786. So we have tapped that, and now we need to watch if we can hold this 0.5 fib right here. Not that any of y'all are holding JP Morgan. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. I'm not. I'm keeping an eye on JP Morgan and Bank of America as banking indicators moving forward, because we all know there is a possible incoming banking collapse on the horizon. All right, and see, look, Bank of America had a much stronger recovery than JP Morgan. See, we cannot do the same fib retracement because it overshot the emerald zone. All right, Bank of America partnered with Ripple. They have XRP in their patents. The Dow. Ooh, big gap up for the Dow. All right, interesting. Let's check out the Dixie, the dollar index. Okay, so this makes sense. We're seeing a sell-off in the Dixie. That means dollars are selling off into assets, securities, commodities, So that's why we've had a little recovery in the stock market, in cryptocurrency. And let's zoom out a little bit here and we can see where we stand in the macro. Whoops. There we go. Let me get a sip of water real quick. Alrighty. So the dollar here, we're looking for a run up to this golden pocket, which would coincide with the massive sell-off for whatever reason. But that's kind of what we're on the lookout for. Not really seeing too much here to go off. Maybe some kind of W pattern. But yeah, just basically on the dollar, keep in mind we could reach this golden or emerald zone here, which would coincide with, again, a sell-off in the debt market. And then possibly after that, we could keep going higher, or we could get rejected around this area, and the dollar could lose its strength relative to, you know, commodities, that type of thing. 10-year yield, similar story. We won't get into the 10-year yield for sake of time explaining it in this video. Let's check on the VIX. Okay, so volatility has fallen off a cliff. As you can see here, when I made my last video, I think we were around here, around 18 on the VIX. And since then, volatility has fallen off a cliff. But we are back in that previous, I guess you would say, support range. This is just kind of a range that it has been hanging out around. So I would say expect some more volatility coming soon to a market near you. All right, housing market ETF. All right, big gap up on the HXB Home Builders ETF, but big wick to the downside. All right, so very interesting. Let's see if that tapped out at the Emerald Zone. Oh, would you looky there. So, yep, see that wick tapped right at the bottom of the Emerald Zone. So yeah, and we are below the 0.5 fib, so we'll see what happens in the housing market. I am shorting this. I have some put options on HXB, so we'll see how that goes. I don't have the best track record with options. But anyway, all right, let's look at Bitcoin now. I have some experimental technical analysis I would like to show you guys on Bitcoin. Alrighty, here we go here. So, oh, actually, hold on. I saved the pictures to my desktop. Let me pull them up real quick. Here we go. Alrighty, one moment. Here we go. Alright, so let's zoom in here. So which one was it? Alright, I believe this one was the first one. Okay, so what I did here, this is a very experimental technical analysis. I'm just kind of having fun seeing what these trend lines might reveal to us. But basically what I did, this bottom one is not one trend line. This is multiple, I believe 4 or 5 trend, or you know, like angled trend lines that you can change the curvature of. And so I started from as soon as we got to 1 cent Bitcoin, when Mt. Gox, this first big candle down here, if y'all can see, that was when Mt. Gox was launched, the first major exchange in the US, or globally, I guess. And then I pulled each of these to the next low. So these bottom ones are going from cycle low to cycle low. So this one goes from the creation of Mt. Gox to this first cycle low. After that big bull run, first cycle. And then it goes to this next cycle low. And then this next cycle low. Oh, right here. And then this one goes to our current cycle low around 15K. Now on the upside, and notice how this bottom line is retaining that that curvature. You know, it's a similar curvature that is kind of starts off pretty extreme and then is kind of fanning out as we go on in time. Now on the top side, what I did the same thing, but pulling from top to top, right? So Mt. Gox creation to the first cycle talk. Now I ignored wicks on this image. Important to note that I ignored the wicks. So as you can see, I just have it going to the candle bodies. Oh, this doesn't even show the wicks in this image. Dang, sorry about that. These look like candle bodies, but I assure you that it is ignoring the wicks and simply going from the candle bodies, either opening or close. So that is what we're doing, and you can see in each of these cycles, this top band, this top line here, is concave like that. All right. Now, if we pull the most recent cycle line from this last top we had, 2017, and we ignore the wicks, but we have this double top right here. This was the first line that is convex. It is bending, like the other ones were bending like this. Well, this is the first line that's bending like that. So this time really is different, guys. And I'm sure you know that if you've seen my my videos on Bitcoin. This time literally is different what we are seeing in the charts. All right. I think the biggest one is that we have already made a new all-time high before the halving. All right, now the halving is come and gone, and we're back below that zone. But that typically happens, so that's not a big thing. But there's several things that are different this cycle. All right, now here's the next chart where instead of ignoring the wicks, I respected the wicks. And so you still probably won't be able to see it in here, but you can see these lines are going to the very tippity top of these candles where the wicks reside. All right, and very similar thing on the bottom one, although if we consider our $15,000 level for Bitcoin, it's low this cycle, back in like December of 2022, this is the first bottom line that bends concavely. All right, so all the other ones are bending, like that, convex, I guess you would say. And then this, so both the top and these bottom lines are changing the direct, like the way that they bend, rather, right? They're either bending inward or outward. So now these are both bending outward, I guess you would say. So what does this mean? What the hell are you talking about? So what this is telling me is that we are essentially reaching critical mass for Bitcoin. We could be topping out, is what this is telling me. All right, and I say that because let's look at this chart where we ignore the wicks. All right, what this is telling me is that while the support structure is still the same, at least this chart is telling me that the rate of, whatever you want to say, diminishing returns, the rate of change as Bitcoin is losing its momentum, is still the same for the support side. But things are changing on the resistance side, the selling side. Things are changing. All right. What this is telling me is that we are hitting resistance at a much more compressed range of price. Think about it. So as time goes on, you have a high. Let's see if I do this right. A high, and then a higher high, and then if you have a much higher high, that line, if you connect all those highs, that line is going to be sloped like this. Well, if you have a high, a higher high, and then maybe a slightly higher high, even though that's a higher high, as you can see exactly what I'm demonstrating in this image here, that line is going to be curved the opposite way. All right, so that's what I'm showing with this chart here, is that things are changing for Bitcoin. Essentially, this cycle is different. All right, and then this one I did the monthly candles, same story. Pretty much the same story as just on a monthly time frame. So, yeah, pretty much same story. Now, and the one other thing to mention though is that if you were to continue this line here, it's gonna squeeze with that line eventually. So, and Bitcoin has been trading within this, these lines since inception. So eventually, if these lines come to a point, the price will eventually break out of that. To which direction? I don't know. I would think the downside. That's just me though. Alrighty, so let's check out this chart. So then what I did with this chart is I added to that one. Let me put this on the weekly time frame for y'all. Alright, so what is going on here is we have, rather than a bunch of little lines on the bottom, this is just one curved line that I simply just curved this bottom support line in a way that has the most confluence with Bitcoin's support. All right, so, and it's amazing that this line is still in play. This curved support line is pretty amazing that after what, like, how many years, 14, 15 years of Bitcoin, that it's still respecting this support line. That's pretty amazing to me. Will it continue forever is the question. Or will it start curving down the other way like a rainbow? That's the other question. I don't know. But what I did here, you see these lines, I have measurements. I took at the top, so the day that we had our top, these are all vertical, perfectly vertical measurement lines. I measured from that line to the top, the highest point that Bitcoin got on the day. So we have 4,300%. This is all just experimental technical analysis, right? I'm trying to see if we can get any more suggestion that the top might be in for Bitcoin. Something like the 5.3 rule, where we can see a mathematical pattern playing out in the diminishing rate of return of Bitcoin. So all of these little lines here is from this, curved support line all the way up to the top, the highest the price went on that day. So we go from 4,300, 3,200, 1,600, 620, and if this is the current cycle top around 73.8, I think it is, almost 74,000, then we'd go from 620 to 187. All right, and I couldn't find any, like the 5.3 rule. There's not a set rate of diminishing returns for this type of, the way I'm measuring it here. But what I did down here is I copied all of these trend lines and I laid them out with them all, the bottoms of them all at the same level, as you can see there. Okay, and what you can see here is that it almost looks like some type of, I'm sure there might be, some type of curve, some rate of curve here. As you can see, man, it's kind of hard to see with this thing in the way, with that little bubble, but all right, so I'm gonna leave it right there. And as you can see, we have this high, and this one's a little bit lower. This one drops down a little bit lower. This one's significantly lower, and this one's massively lower, almost half the size of that one. Whereas up here, this looks like some kind of Fibonacci spiral, some type of mathematical natural progression to me. All right, I haven't found the number of that yet, but just looking at it, it looks like there's some type of rate of regression, I guess you could say, in these gains. And so, would that is that too far to say that this is this current, is this the all-time high is basically what I'm saying. Is the all-time high in for Bitcoin? Is the top already in? Is it too much to say that, from here, this rate of regression, is that too much? I don't think so. Look at this, guys. Look at the rate of regression, I guess is a good way to say it. But see, from here to here is just a tiny amount. From here to here is more than double that amount. From here to here, is a big amount. You get what I'm saying? I'm sorry I'm not articulating it as well as I'd like to, but I think you guys can see what I'm trying to present to y'all. So yeah, maybe the top's already in. I guess we'll find out eventually, won't we? But let's now look a little more at some more traditional technical analysis to kind of get our levels of where we want to keep an eye on to see for confluence if the top is in, all right? And at what point will that theory be invalidated, right? At what point is the 5.3 theory no longer valid? And then at that point, I guess we'll expect 100K plus for Bitcoin to the moon. $1 million Bitcoin, right? All right, so I'm sorry. I'm having too much fun. Alrighty, so I have a support line chart here for Bitcoin. Let's go to the daily chart. Alrighty, and let me bring it on up here. So, our recent rejection oops. This is the chart that I want. Alright, cool. Cool. So, what we got going on here, we had after that October solar eclipse, we had a rush of bullish momentum right into the golden pocket. We backtested the 0.618 fib, and then we just rocketed right on up to make new all-time highs. Extreme bullish momentum. Unsustainable, obviously, and that's where we are now. We are having a correction. So far, since that all-time high, we have corrected a mere 23.48%. All right, that is not that much when you look at the grand scheme of things. When you look at cycle after cycle, bull run after bull run, Bitcoin tends to have anywhere from 40 to 80% corrections, sometimes mid bull run. There was I believe its second cycle, Bitcoin's second cycle, it had an 80% correction when Mt. Gox suspended trading. They were like, yeah, we need to let the market cool off a little bit. We're going to give the market cool down. So we're going to halt all trading. And boom, 80% correction. So that was kind of an anomaly. And that was a mid-cycle, right? That wasn't even like, that 80% correction was not the low. So, 23% is nothing, all right? We could very, very well see, from this all-time high here, 40% correction would give us around that, this green line, kind of the 702 fib. the middle of this emerald zone, that would make a lot of sense. Back testing this prior trading resistance and turning that into support, that could happen. Now, so let's entertain a scenario for a minute so that we can, get a good grasp of like the levels to understand, to keep in mind, just to give you all the levels so that if we do get that low, you're not worried, oh God, what's the next level? So let me just give you all like the main levels in case we do have a correction, 40% correction. So let's say that we have a 40% correction. Oh, sorry, from the all-time high, 73.8. Right, so right there would give you our 40 perfectly to the middle of the emerald zone, 40% correction. If we lose that level and we start closing, oh, hold on. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. This blue trend line is very important. All right, and we have bounced off this blue. It's kind of like a channel, blue channel. We can see it is very important because here we have it as support there, support there, support there, and then we were supporting, and then we broke through it, and then it was like this long-term resistance. I remember watching Bitcoin through here, and it was just like this, like boring, but still just getting up there. And then when it broke, it just went on this tear. It was like, what? It was like, man, we are in a simulation. But anyway, so this blue line is very important. Looks like we have kind of back tested it, or got close to back testing it. But so that's the first level, guys. That is our first support. If we start closing daily candles below or within this blue trend line, then watch out, because the next big zone, there's not a lot of trading range right here. The next zone would be like around 44K, the FOFO. All right, so that's your next level. If we break that and then start closing out of the emerald zone, then that would be a little strange, because that would be an extreme correction, right? If we started going 50% correction, that would have to coincide with some kind of huge news on the world stage, mass sell-off event, maybe something with Bitcoin specifically. But that would not be all gravy if we went below there. And then we have some prior support. I guess our next support range would be around this 31 to 33K. All right, so that's if we break below the emerald zone, then watch for 31 to 33. Now, if we break below that, that's where things start seriously getting dangerous for Bitcoin investors, because as you can see at the bottom here, I have the extreme levels of support. All right, and the first critical level is at 25K. All right, if we break past all this support and like 25K, we better hold that. Okay. If we lose 25K, that is not good, because that is a critical level. You can see right here, that was our resistance. All right, and then we got rejected below it. That was our resistance again, and then we finally blasted through it, and then it was our support for a let's say like a almost 200 days. Let's just say it was like a 200-day support level, 25K. So if we break that level, that's it's not good. And then our next level would be 22K. All right, Master Builder, Master Destroyer number. If we break 22K, that is very, very not good. And then the next level we need to hold is 18, what is it, 18,170. 18,170. If we can't hold that, guys, then we're probably going to go even lower. We're probably going to put in new lows. And then the next major support would be around 12,500. And that goes back to the prior trading range right here. There was resistance right there. Oops. Hold on. I didn't mean to move that. Resistance right there. And then resistance right there on that automatic rally. So I don't think Bitcoin will go that low. By no means. I'm just giving you all these levels in case like something crazy happens and it starts just, you know, falling through these support floors. You know, it's possible. It's possible, guys. I just wanted to give you all these levels. So on the upside, though, our theory can be invalidated to the upside, and I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to go to another chart I have here to give us our. Hopefully, you guys can hear me good. Let me check on the chat real quick. All right. Shout out to the 5 people we got watching, man. You guys are awesome. But I just wanted to check, make sure I got no questions. I don't see any, so I'm going to get back into the charts. All right, here we go. So for upside invalidation of the 5.3 theory, well, first off, let's talk about my theory getting invalidated that the top could already be in. All right, obviously, we're not that far away from making new all-time highs. All right, we're about 15%, a little more than 15% away from our current all-time high for Bitcoin. And you know, Bitcoin does that in one day, right? 1 week. Sometimes I think 1 day, but you know that's not uncommon for us to. So we could definitely rocket up and get another tap. We could see a tap on this trend line right here, this white trend line. And that would obviously invalidate my theory that the top could already be in. But what's the point at which we say, okay, guys, the 5.3 theory is no longer valid? All right, we got to throw this out the window, and Bitcoin's going to 100K plus. I think that if we broke above our current all-time high, we broke above this trend line, which is very possible, right? Both prior two tops, we wicked above it, but we close above it. So I would say if we close a weekly candle above, let's call it 82, 83K, you know, if we start closing a weekly candle above that, I would start considering that this 5.3 theory can be wrong, and that maybe we are just we're approaching, God, I don't even know how this makes sense. Maybe we could be approaching like, you know, maybe like a bigger wave of mass adoption, and Bitcoin is actually adopted as a store of value, which makes no sense because why wouldn't they just use XRP as a store of value, something that actually has utility anyway, and actually is decentralized anyway? I'm sorry to get on a little tangent there, but so that's kind of the level. Now, if we see, you know, weekly candle, daily candle come up, and then maybe we find support along this trend line, then I would say watch out, right? Because if we start treating this trend line as support, you know, we come above it, maybe get to like 90 something, you know, we get into the 90Ks, and then we come back and retest this as support. That's very bullish for Bitcoin, and so we might want to consider it going into 100K plus then. So let's also look at one sec. So I believe the 5.33 predicted a 398% gain for Bitcoin this cycle. So let's see, 398%. Yeah, that's right around 77K. And that was where I got this range for. I didn't account any downside, unfortunately. But so let's measure from 77K up to, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So what I did here is I measured from what the 5.3 rule predicted our cycle top to be this cycle, around 77,000. And then I measured to the max discrepancy that the 5.3 rule allows for, which is about 8%. All right. Now, keep in mind that 8%, that one time, the last cycle, where it was 8% off of what the 5.3 rule predicted, it was to the downside. All right. So the only, really our upside discrepancy average is around 3 or 4%. But let's give Bitcoin the benefit of the doubt, and let's say it goes up to 8%. All right, what does that give us? $83,500. So if Bitcoin, this is some facts right here. If Bitcoin breaks higher than 83,500, around that area, right? Let's just call it 83.5. All right. That would not invalidate, but go against all previous 5.3 rule cycles. That would be something new, a discrepancy that we have never seen before in the 5.3 rule. Okay, so that's a very important level to keep in mind. 83,000. If Bitcoin breaks 83,000, then the chances of it breaking 100K plus are much greater. That's what I wanted to explain with that. And look, with this trend line, guys, I still haven't changed this chart from the first video I made about the 5.3 rule, but I'm gonna go ahead and move this trend line a little bit. Let's see. Let's move. I know this is like, trend lines are really tertiary. They should be used, not as, the word of God. But let's just move this around just for fun. And look at that. You could draw the trend line that way. And then the top's in. Let's see if we move it even down further. Ooh, yeah. Okay, so there you go. Maybe the top's in. We shall see. I gave you all the levels to watch out for. That blue trend line. What was the support on that blue trend line? Hold on, guys. Let me get that support for you. We're going to have to go back to this chart anyway. So 83K to the upside. If we start closing above 83K, the 5.3 rule might be invalid. And then if we start closing, let's see. Well, the downside is different because that's implying that the 5.3 rule is correct. And then if this is the cycle top, this would be the most underperformed cycle top Bitcoin bull run in all of history, which that fact in itself would probably discourage a lot of Bitcoin investors, shake a lot of people out. And then, if you have a utility bull run that's coinciding with an underperforming Bitcoin run, you're just going to see a Bitcoin sell-off into utility, right? That makes sense. But so the downside, obviously 44K. That's a critical level to hold if we break this blue trend line. So that's Bitcoin for y'all. I wanted to give you all those critical levels just because I haven't done that, I don't believe, with the 5.3 rule. And so if we are going to give the 5.3 rule a lot of our prana, a lot of our attention, which I believe that we should, because of its accuracy and its, you know the deal. It's amazing how accurate this 5.3 rule is, and it's cycle after cycle, mathematical, accuracy. So, that is the thing to keep in mind is the 5.3 rule. Let's check out XRP real quick. Shout out to anyone who went to the XRP Las Vegas conference. I unfortunately was not able to go, but I would like to go one day and meet some of you amazing people, collaborate and communicate. But anyway, so let's check out what XRP is doing. Let me go to a better chart. Here we go. Alrighty. So let me zoom on in here. Let's see if we got any questions from the chat. No chat. No questions today. It's all good. We shall continue. We shall prevail. So, for XRP, we got this trend line that is, I think, been in place since the genesis of XRP, if I'm not mistaken. A very, very long trend line. It's been in place since 2017. And this has been our support. And we have not yet lost this support line. We wicked below it, but those have been quickly bought up. So that's a very important trend line to look at with XRP. We are approaching the apex of this bull flag. So we need to make a move here pretty soon. Typically these bull flags play out when it's like 75% of the way, and we're probably around 85% through this bull flag. Maybe even more than that. But let's zoom in here, see what we got going on. Let's go back to the daily chart. Here's our solar eclipse, this vertical line right there on April 8th. Total solar eclipse. All right. So again, what I have done here, I have pulled a bearish Fibonacci retracement tool from the sell-off after the massive XRP is not a security news pump, July 13th. Never forget that day. But we had a big sell-off after that. I pulled the fib from that sell-off to the next high. All right, and we have been following like a very clean Wyckoff inverse schematic since then. We have our sell-off, automatic rally to the emerald zone. This would be your spring, or I guess up thrust after distribution. And then we were treating the 0.5 fib as resistance. We broke below it in that crazy overseas chaos news right after the eclipse, and so we did break below our prior low. And essentially what we're looking for now with XRP is if it can hold this line. And we have a critical line of support right here at 50 cents. This yellow line's right at 50 cents. So that's kind of our, 50 cents is what we need to hold if we want to see continue upside. If we break 50 cents again, we're going to get really close with starting to break this trend line that's been our support, since 2017. And so, I think if we, at this point, if we were to close a daily candle below 49 cents, 50 cents would be, maybe close, but 49 cents. If we see a daily candle close below 49 cents, I would say then 33 cents is very likely. And that's because of how well this Wyckoff schematic is played out. We can expect the 1.618 to the downside. That's also right where our last support range is. We had all this support back here, right around, high 20-cent range to 33 cents. That was where the big support wall is. So could we, in the same week, wick down to 30 cents, 33 cents, and then get bought back up above this trend line within the same week? Absolutely. Absolutely, XRP could do that. And then, obviously, after that, I would expect new all-time highs very shortly after that. Maybe around this summertime, well, I mean, shit, if it's going to happen in the same week, we could see the sell-off this month, Mayday, 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 crash, right? And then, bought back up maybe towards the end of May. And then, guys, we could be making new all-time highs by like July or August. Even June. God, with the way XRP moves, we could totally, just boom, start making new all-time highs. We'll see how it plays out. Keep a close eye on it, but that's your XRP analysis. I don't want to spend too much time on crypto, so yeah, I think this was a good live stream. Hopefully the audio was all good. Hopefully you guys could hear the Wim Hof audio. I am not sure if you could. Let me see on this OBS. How's it going? Okay, good. So mic looks good on here. It all looks good. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your Sunday in the Matrix, and I will see y'all. So real quick, I got some videos coming out soon. We're gonna do a ETHgate deep dive, ETHgate deep dive. The idea of a mass Ethereum exodus coming, and we're gonna go all into that. XRP Unleashed documentary is coming out soon, which exposes ETHgate. So that could definitely have a hand to play in all this. And then I have a crypto research filter coming out soon that will be a PDF/Google Doc that will assist y'all in your fundamental and technical analysis. Fundamental analysis is really overlooked, I feel like, in crypto, because everyone wants to look at the price, and of course there's extreme value in the charts and technical analysis, but my view is that you use fundamental analysis to pick what to buy, use technical analysis to pick when to buy, okay, or where to buy, what prices to buy. So that's coming out soon. Keep your eyes out for that, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I wish all of y'all much love and abundance. And until next time, master your reality. Let's go.